Hello, everybody. Welcome to our creative writing masterclass. I hope everybody can hear me okay. And I hope that we're all doing all right today as well. So my name is Lois, and I'm going to be running this masterclass this afternoon today. So the way that it's going to work for this session is we're going to have an hour of the masterclass, where we're going to be talking about picture prompts and using them for descriptions for creative writing. And then at 1 o'clock, there will be a 15-minute parents Q&A. So the first hour is the masterclass. So do get involved, do be engaged with the slides and the tasks that I'm going to give you. There'll be opportunities for you to write answers in the chat and I'll read answers out. And then at 1, it will be time to switch over to parents who have questions. So without any further ado, I'm going to get started. So I'm going to go to my first slide. As I mentioned, this creative writing masterclass is about using pictures for your writing. This is something quite common that 11 plus exams use. You might be given an image of something rather unusual. It might be a nature scene, it might be a person, it might be a city scene, it could be anything. But your task is to use it to write something interesting. Now, let me go to my next slide. We're going to think about a few things today, quite a lot to get through, so I'm going to go through various tasks fairly quickly, but you will be able to look at these slides again after the session that will be sent to you. So we're going to start by talking about using a picture to inspire a description. Then we're going to talk about using pictures to inspire stories. So you can use the pictures for both for descriptions and for narratives. We will talk about creating plans, and then we'll also briefly mention time management as well. So that is my aim for the session, and hopefully we should be able to get through it all in the time. So with your picture prompts, they are really, really useful. Picture prompts, I think, are some of the nicest things that you can be given in an exam because they give you so much more than just a simple verbal prompt. So they provide a really useful visual aid for your inspiration. The great thing is as well, the picture is just the guide, right? You mustn't feel like you have to keep everything limited to the picture. You can add in other details. You can add in, movement and action that doesn't appear in the image. The image is just the starting point. So you could use it as the prompt for the setting of a story, or the image itself can create the scene that you're going to describe. So they can be used in lots of different ways. Let me just go to the next slide. So I'm going to start off by talking about one key method that you can use for creating like a sort of structure from your picture, particularly for descriptions. And I call this the grid method. This may be something that some of you have come across before. So imagine that you're in the exam and you've been given a picture here. You've been given, in this case, we've got this sort of snowy scene with the village and someone sledging down the snowy hill. You're like, okay, I've got to describe this. It might feel like it's not really clear where to start. So if you do it like this, if you divide the picture up into 9, or you can do it into 8, or you can do it into 6, it doesn't really matter how many boxes you have, but 9 is a good one. It will mean that you're able to pick things out of the picture much more easily. One thing that students always say to me when we're doing descriptions is they always say, I don't know what else to add. And I was like, look at that picture. That picture is an abundance. You haven't mentioned this, you haven't mentioned that, you haven't mentioned that. This grid method will help you to realize how much there is within a picture to describe. So in fact, let me actually go back before I reveal my answers. I would like you to all give this a little try. So have a look at this picture and look at the grid that I've created here. Now imagine that these are numbered. These is like, it goes across here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like so. I'd like you to use the chat to tell me what you would pick out of each box. So you can write 1, and then what you see in box 1, 2, what do you see in box 2, and then let's just see from using the grid method, what aspects of the picture can we pick out. So hopefully everyone is able to use the chat. I'm not sure if anybody, can't see any messages on here yet. 1 second. I don't know if anyone's able to use it, or maybe they are. It's disabled. Oh, no, there we go. I think the chat, here we go. Okay, bro, it's coming through now. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. I can already see some messages there. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got some people are saying 1 is the snowy rooftops. Yes, excellent. That would give you already plenty for a few sentences on the snowy rooftops. Someone said someone's sleighing. Yeah, you could definitely mention the sleigh. The chimney tops for number 1, the distant landscape for number 2. Yes, very good. You can see that pictures allow you to think of things that are close up, but also things that are far away. Chimneys. Yes, lots of people are mentioning the chimneys. The land behind covered in snow. The hills, good. Houses, yes. The doors and the fence, yeah, exactly. Little details. Smoke going out of the chimneys, yes, excellent for number 1 with the rooftops. Snowy bushes, yep, fantastic. Trees, the landscape, yes. People sledging, housetops, blankets of snow all around, yes, very good. Snow-covered trees. The windows, yes, exactly. So there's lots of messages coming through, which is great. A half reef, yes. The fog, yeah, good point. The grassland and houses covered in snow, but also the boy riding the toboggan. Okay, fantastic. So I can see that you guys are able to use this grid really effectively. I can see loads and loads of elements of the picture being pulled out. Posts and ballards, yes, good. Okay, fantastic. Oh, yeah, bricks. This is the thing. The grid method is really handy because as soon as you've broken it down, you're like, okay, it's no longer just some houses covered in snow. There's windows and there's bricks and there's bollards and there's snow on the ground and there's snowy bushes and there's hills in the distance and there's chimneys. So let's have a look at how I did it. So I split it up into 9 and I said number 1 was the chimney tops, the white sky in number 2, hills and fields for number 3, snowy roofs, the adjoining houses, the trees in the background, doorways, the sledger, and then the snow-topped fence. So many things you can pull out from the grid. Okay, brilliant. So once you've used your grid method to identify the main elements, it's like that's a really good place to start. Then you want to start arranging your ideas into paragraphs, right? And a description, particularly, should always be 3 paragraphs at least, okay? It should always be aiming for 3. That's kind of the standard that we want to be aiming for. And I'm going to give you a little structure to follow here that you can use when you're doing your picture prompt description. And now I call this the gradual zoom in. Some of you, if you've ever done any of my creative writing classes before, you may recognize this. So your description is going to begin paragraph 1, a sweeping wide view of the scene. Imagine that you're holding a camera and you're standing really far away. You're capturing everything within your camera in the first paragraph. Then in your second paragraph, you zoom in. Like you either press on the zoom button on your camera or you literally walk closer, right? You're zooming into something within the scene, something a bit smaller, something that's more specific. And then in the third paragraph, that's where you go in really close. You zoom in on something really specific. You could even show really fine details that you could only see if you were close up. So like if I go back to this image here, I could start with the snowy background, the snowy sky, the fields, the mountains in the distance. Then I could have the houses in paragraph 2 covered in snow with the windows and the doors and the bushes. And then paragraph 3, I could focus on the sledger. So I'm slowly zooming in as the description develops. So Here's an example picture here, okay? And I've written one for this. I'll show you my example in a second, and then you're going to try another one in just a second. So here's the image, and I know this one's moving, and they wouldn't usually be moving, but I thought this was quite nice. So imagine that you were given this picture. You would want to start setting the scene nice and broad. The warmth of the fire, the snow outside, maybe the warm colors. And then paragraph two, you want to maybe zoom in on like the people sitting around the fire, having conversation, eating food, whatever it may be. Paragraph three, maybe you zoom in there on the dog. So you're drawing us closer and closer into the picture. And here was how I did it. Number one, a wide overview of the scene. Paragraph two, zoom in on the individual sitting around the room. And then paragraph three, zoom in closer to the fire and the dog sitting on the hearth. Okay, so that's how you're going to structure your description, basing it on a picture. So let's try one now. I'm going to give you guys one to practice with. So here's your picture. Take a look at it. And in the chat, I want you to write a similar structure to what I did for the previous one. So you're going to have one, describe so-and-so, two, zoom in on so-and-so, three, zoom in on so-and-so. This is a great image. There's lots going on, so you don't have to describe everything, but see if you can structure your plan a little bit. Let's just have a look. Okay, so take a moment, pop your messages in the chat when you're ready, and I'll have a look at some of them as they come up. Okay, I can already see a few chats. I'm just going to give everyone a second to write the three parts so I can see how the plan unfolds. Okay, let's read some of these out. All right, so one here says paragraph one would focus on the setting sky and the trees. Paragraph two would focus on the girl, and paragraph three would focus on the dog. Good, that would work really nicely because it's slowly zooming in closer and closer as we go. I'm just looking for some that have the three parts to them. Okay, here's another one. So paragraph one, the trees and the bushes in the background. Number two, the girl and the box. And number three, the dog and the things on the floor. Yeah, good. That would also work nicely. Then we've got sky and the land for the setting for paragraph one. Number two, the lady in the middle, and then the object on the ground and the dog for paragraph three. Yeah, that would also work well. Nice. Okay, here's another one. So paragraph one, the girl mending the blue box. Paragraph two, the metal eye or ball hovering next to the girl. Paragraph three, the metal and wood hammer. There's some really good like close-ups there. I would suggest for that one, try and have the first paragraph a little further away, set the scene a little bit more, like create the background first, and then zoom in on the girl, because that will immerse us in the setting a little bit more clearly. Okay, let's have a look at a couple more here. Okay, so paragraph one, the bright sky and the rocks in the distance. Yes, good. Paragraph two, the lady with the cube. Paragraph three, the robotic dog and the metals on the floor. Yeah, excellent. See, quite a lot of these are quite similar, which is good. It shows that you're all focusing in on that zoom in slowly structure. Paragraph one, setting in background. Two, the girl. Paragraph three, the tech, including the dog. Yes, because it's a sort of techie dog there, isn't it? Okay, great. Okay, here's another. The glowing white stars in the distance for paragraph one, then the mysterious girl for paragraph two, making the box levitate, and paragraph three, the robot dog watching the girl. Yes, good. Okay. Yes, great. I think that most of you have got something along those similar lines. So here's, oh, I didn't make it move, or maybe I did. Well, there you go. Now it's moving again. So here's what I did. And you'll probably notice this is quite similar to what you guys also came up with. So you had paragraph 1, wide overview of the scene with the rocks, the sky, and the trees. I think a lot of you mentioned that. Paragraph 2, zoom in on the collection of tools sitting around. So I actually kind of went the other way around. And then paragraph 3, I zoomed in on the inventor. So I actually went setting, tools, and inventor. So kind of the other way around to what some of you did, but it still works. It's still a zoom in. There's no perfect way to do it. Okay, brilliant. Right, let's move on. We're going to try one more of these, and I've got another image for you to try. And all you're going to do, same thing again, look at the image and come up with your own plan for the 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, 2, 3. Zooming in slowly. Remember that paragraph 1, try and make it as broad and as wide as possible. And paragraph 3 should be the most closely zoomed in. So here you are. Here's your picture. Take a look at it. So we've got this dark, moody scene. Got the ships, it's maybe a harbor. Got the sky overhead, the moon, the sea. You've got the sailors. You've got the sort of clouds in the sky, the blue of the night. Then you've got ships coming in, you've got ships leaving, reflections. You've got cargo. There's loads of things within the image to possibly pick out. So let's have a look at what you guys are putting. I'm just going to click on a few. Okay, this is a nice simple plan, but this works. Paragraph 1, the sky. Paragraph 2, the boats. Paragraph 3, the people. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. You could probably mention this, maybe the sea in paragraph 1 as well, to give us the sense of it being, you know, like a maritime description. We need to show that we're at sea. But yeah, fantastic. Okay. So paragraph 1, the moon and the clouds. Paragraph 2, the sea and the boats. And paragraph 3, the people on the boats. Yeah, that would be nice. Nighttime setting made very clear there. Okay, so hang on. I think if I'm getting this one right, so you're going to have the sky in paragraph 1, then the boats and the ships in paragraph 2, and the sailors and the sea in paragraph 3. Yes, nice. Then we've got the moon glowing in the sky for paragraph 1, the boat sailing into the abyss in paragraph 2, and then people getting onto the last boat in paragraph 3. Yeah, that's nice. And even though it's a description, it has a little bit of narrative to it as well. Not too much that it feels like a story, but feels like there's things happening. So that's lovely, that one. Okay, it's, again, similar sky, sun, and sea for paragraph 1, paragraph 2, ships, paragraph 3, crowd. Yeah, fantastic. I think most of you have done something similar to that, which works really nicely. Moon in the dark cloudy sky, then the faint ships in the harbour, and then paragraph 3, the sea and the people. Yeah, good, good. Okay, brilliant. I think most of you have got something similar to that. So yeah, really, really nice. I can see, and I hope that you will all use this structure for descriptions. It works really well. So make sure that you remember this for future descriptions that you write. Okay, fantastic, everyone. I'm going to move on to our next task now. Another way that you can make your descriptions interesting and use the image to do so. And I'm calling this choosing perspectives. So what I mean by this is that there is no reason why your description has to be told from the perspective of, you know, just an observer on the edge of the image. You can get creative with it. Okay, so typically descriptions are written in third person. If you write them in first person, it can too easily become a story rather than a description. So third person is ideal for descriptions. But you can be creative with where you place your point of view. So I've written here, you can be creative with your choice and write the description from a more unique perspective. So maybe you write from the perspective of an inanimate object within the scene. Maybe you write from above the scene. Maybe you write from below the scene, or maybe a particularly unusual vantage point. So, for instance, here's a picture here that you might get given. It's this painting here of a girl looking out a window. So you could write, imagine I'm just standing in the room looking at the scene. Or I could change the perspective. I could have it from I'm the candle flickering on the window. Sorry, not the window, the dressing table. Maybe I'm looking into the window, as in through the window at the room. Maybe I'm looking out of the window. Maybe I am the girl herself. Maybe I'm seeing it through her eyes. Or maybe I'm the mirror on the wall, standing there looking at the scene. So I can see the girl, but I can also see out of the window. So, any other suggestions for this? Would there be any other perspectives from which you could write this description? Just going to click through and find any answers that relate to this. Okay, one answer says the table. Yes, you could definitely write from the perspective of the table. Again, that would give you a similar perspective to the mirror or the candle. From out on the sea, yes, perhaps you are maybe on a boat and you can see a woman at the window, with the open windows. Maybe you could describe her dress, the curtains blowing out of the window. That would be another possibility. Okay, let's see what else we got. You could be the sea, it could be the sea, yes, looking in at the girl. That's a good suggestion. From the chair, from the glass, yes. The curtains, yes. You could be a bird flying past the window. Yeah, that's a fantastic suggestion, quite unique. Okay, great. From creatures in the sea, that's interesting. That would be quite tricky, I think, but could possibly work. We just have to think quite carefully about it. Let's see what else we've got. A person coming in. Yes, it could be someone that is visiting, maybe walking past her door and you look through, catch a glimpse. The perspective of the dusty mirror. Yes. Lots of you are saying at sea, which works well. The chair. Yes. The candle from behind the window. Yes, good. I'm just trying to get through some of these messages. The painter, that's a good idea. You could be the painter creating the painting. It's a really interesting, unique take. Very nice. Yes. Sorry, there's lots of messages and I want to see if I don't want to miss any. From the balcony in a locked room. Interesting. Yes. As in maybe you're suggesting that this room is locked. So it's like it's kind of become its own little prison. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, here's another image. And I've given some suggestions here. See if you can to add to this at all. So where could you place, your vantage point here? So for this one, I suggested you could be looking into the window, like into the room through the window. Maybe you are sitting on the windowsill with the perspective of a plant. Maybe you are the girl. Maybe you're the statue on the desk. Any other possibilities? The eyes on the wall. Oh, yes, these, I think you mean here. That's a good suggestion. Yes, I like that. Person looking at the painting from the perspective of a picture of a cloud outside. Yes. Tree branches near the window from another of the paintings. Someone coming up the stairs. Yes, you can see. I think this is meant to be like a bit of a staircase here. Good. Flowers. Yep, you could be sitting where the flowers are. The plants. The chair, the window, yes, good. From the TV, from the plant pot. I don't think this is a TV. I think it's a painting, but it does kind of look a bit like a TV. From the stairs, yes, good. Another bird flying past could be another suggestion. Yep, fantastic. The candle, yes. Right there, because that would be quite interesting because you'd have the girl very close up, but then you have everything in the background of the plants and the view from the window and whatever is on the other side that we can't actually see. Yeah, fantastic. So this is just another interesting way that you can make your description stand out a little bit, rather than just having in the painting, I can see so and so, or the sky is dark in the background, that's fine and that will work. But this could be another interesting way of bringing in a more unique voice, perhaps. Okay, I'm just going to check that I'm doing okay for time. Yes, I think I am. All right, so let's pause there on descriptions for the time being. The main things that I want you to sort of take away from those few tasks are that you can split the picture up using the grid method to help you pull out elements to describe. Always structure it so that you're slowly zooming in. You start off really broad and then you zoom in slowly to draw the reader into the picture. And you can also be creative with where you place your perspective so that the examiner is a little bit surprised or maybe a little bit, impressed by your originality. So now let's move on to narrative writing, because picture prompts aren't just used for descriptions. Sometimes they can be the basis for a short story as well. So in this case, if that is what you're asked to do in an exam, you're going to have to come up with events, right? You're going to have to use the picture as a starting point for your plot. Now, narratives, as I'm sure you all know, they have a very basic structure that you should always try and follow, which has these 4 elements to it. You've got an opening. You're setting the scene, introducing your character, making it clear what the story is going to be about. What is it that they're trying to achieve within the story? Then you have a build-up where the tension grows. Then you have a dilemma, a climax, a problem, something that's stopping the narrator or the character from achieving what they want, something they have to overcome. And then you have, of course, the solution. So your picture is the starting point for the events of that story. But it could also be maybe the results, or it could be something in the center of the story, it could be the setting of the story. You can really use the picture however you like, as long as the picture does appear within the story somewhere, that the examiner is not going to be like, was the picture even needed or even used? It's got to be related somewhere. So here's some examples of how we might do this. So you've got your picture here. This is another example for you. And what I've done here is I've looked at the image and I've considered what kind of stories could be inspired by this image. So you've got this waterfall with a boat at the bottom, and then there's all this like illustrations of litter pouring into it. So what stories could be inspired by this? Here are the ideas that I had. First of all, my first idea was that maybe there was a burst drain, which has caused the waterfall to be flooded with waste. Maybe the passengers watch in horror as floods of plastic bottles fall over a waterfall. So it could be that your main character is like a tourist who's gone on this boat tour, and then this sudden horror strikes. Maybe it could be a more general story about a landmark destroyed by global warming, a beautiful natural phenomena or a natural area of natural beauty that gets destroyed by pollution. Or maybe it could be imagined, a guest on board a boat imagines how the waterfall might be destroyed by pollution in the future. Maybe it's not actually happening like this, but it's just something that the guest is thinking about. So these are like stories that could come from the picture. So does anyone else want to suggest any other stories, general ideas that come, if you look at the picture, anything that comes to mind? Let's see what you guys come up with. Just gonna look through here. So it could be something about recycling. Yes, you could have a story about recycling, its importance, maybe someone who's uninterested in it and then sees the consequences of not doing it. There could be a flood. Yes. But with plastic, yes, exactly. It could be a story of a flood, but within the flood, there is a lot of plastic, maybe again, warning us about pollution. Let's see what other suggestions. People not caring and throwing waste in the waterfall. Yes, maybe your character sees that happening and tries to stop it. Let's see what else we have. Important lesson of not littering. Yes, yeah, that's a good suggestion. You could have a character who sees it happening, like we said, and tries to stop it, or maybe sees the destruction that's been caused and wants to change or wants to teach others to change. Okay. Just looking through what else we have. The Niagara Falls is filled with plastic. Yeah, I mean, it does look like it could be some significant landmark. So you could have a famous waterfall, imagining it in the future, what happens to it as a result of pollution. Everyone throws waste in the river at the same time. Yes, you think why? What would the reason be for that? Is there a reason why everyone's doing that? Is it some kind of rebellion? Is it some kind of bunch of rowdy tourists? Like, what is it that's the reason for that? You'd have to think about that a little bit when you're planning out your story. Okay, let's see, there's something else. Yeah, it could be part of it could be part of a gallery that's intended to stop pollution. That's a nice idea, interpreting it differently. A pollution-filled world where it's normal. Yeah, maybe this is just what it looks like, and maybe they're just going past in their boat to see the plastic waterfall. Maybe that's just what the world becomes like. It's an interesting suggestion. Okay, so hopefully you can see that the picture can be really useful in getting us to be a bit creative. Okay, here's another one. So you've got an image and you've got a bunch of girls, I think there are some boys in there too, so a bunch of young people with their phones. And I've written here what stories could be inspired by this. Here are my suggestions. First possibility, teenage fan going to watch a performance and realizes that everyone seems to be watching through their phones. So maybe that could be a bit depressing, realizing that people aren't watching in the way they used to, and they're just wanting to capture it. Maybe it's a music concert when a fan shares a moment of connection with the artist. I always think of that girl in the middle there with the blue shirt. She looks like she's looking up from her phone and she's seeing something that she wouldn't have seen if she'd been looking at her phone. Or maybe it's from a different perspective. It's about a musical performer who's facing their stage fright before a debut show, perhaps. So maybe they're looking out at all these people and having to overcome their fears. So, any other suggestions of what stories you could write based on this image? Or events that could be inspired by it? Okay, so maybe it's a story about people trying to get a photo with a famous idol. Yes. So I'm just going to open some of these messages that I've missed. People attached to their phones and they become like zombies, apart from one girl, yes, who maybe realizes what's happening to people. Maybe it's a live stream, an important live stream. Yeah, something significant happening on the live stream. Maybe it's about a performer giving a speech to his fans, maybe about something important again. A talent show, yes, good, could be a talent show. Let's see what else we have. Famous person, very hard to see, so everyone is taking photos. Yes, it could be the arrival of someone who everyone has been waiting for. Maybe your main character has been waiting a long time to see them and maybe they miss out. Here's another, oh, this one's a little bit different. Everyone's laughing because the band has messed up and they're recording it. The girl behind the one with the Coca-Cola phone thinks it's wrong. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Maybe this is not so much a excited filming, but a humiliation. Yeah, which is a problem that you could again reveal. People meeting someone famous. Maybe it's a performance. Yes. Concert or show. Teenagers playing on their phones while they're queuing. Yes, good. Again, you could be talking about addiction to phones. Kind of like the other one was about the addiction to, or the problem with pollution. Now, I've seen K-pop Demon Hunters. Guys, I don't know what that really is, but I've heard about it. Maybe they're walking by. Yes, could be. Really famous person enters a place, everyone's a huge fan. Yes, good. Okay, fantastic. So lots of possibilities from the image, and it's up to you to decide what your story would be. Okay, so let's try. I'm going to give you a couple of pictures where I've not put any suggestions on. And I want you to think about what stories could be inspired by the images. Okay, so you're going to have two options. So this is the first one. And actually, let's just use the chat and write some ideas first, because we're going to like outline them in just a second. So you've got this picture here. Have a look at the image, study it, see what's going on. You've got characters, you've also got setting. What could the story be here? Have any ideas, pop them in the chat. We'll just do this quickly because we're going to I'm going to give you a moment to actually write your plan in just a second as well. What could the story be here? What could it be about? What could the main event be? Yes, a man admiring his flowers. Yes, maybe it's about a man who's been growing this type of, I guess, rose for a long time. He's finally achieved it, finally got it the way he wanted. Cutting roses to give to someone. Yes, good. Gardener looking after his red roses. An earl helping the royal family cut flowers. Yes. Oh, here's a more dark one. A man is going to kill or destroy, maybe destroy the roses in revenge for the king sending soldiers to war. Interesting. So this is less of a positive story and maybe more of a darker plot. Maybe he's decorating something for a festival. That's a good suggestion. Prepping for a celebration day. Yes. Maybe he's gonna have an accident. Yes, the royal gardener who falls over, maybe falls over off of his ladder. It's a coronation. People are preparing roses for the event. Yes. Opening of a flower shop. That's a good suggestion. Quite different. Preparing for a royal wedding or the arrival of the royal family. The gardener's checking the roses. Yes, nice. Good. There's quite a few here that are dealing with royal events. Okay, lovely. A rose competition. Maybe the person last year got sabotaged. This year's competing again. Yeah, good suggestion. It's his comeback. Okay, lots of good ideas here. Yeah, these are looking good. I'm interested to see what your stories will be, because we're going to plot them out in just a second. Here's your second image. It's got a little bit different. You've got ballerinas riding horses and then a clown here. Could there be a key event that you could draw out of this image? Maybe a positive event, or maybe a darker or sadder event, or surprising event? What could it be? A circus where something goes wrong. Yes, that could definitely work. A painting competition. It could be a painting competition. This could be the entry that they are putting into the competition. It's a good suggestion. But forcing them to do it as a punishment. Interesting. Maybe the clown is like wielding power here. A ballet show. Yes. Painting of the circus coming to town. Someone falls off their horse, they fill it up with the ballerinas. Yeah, when the ballerinas, maybe they're replacing other people that have had a mistake, and so they get this rather unusual, surprising performance instead. The clown is thinking of some kind of sabotage. Interesting. Yeah, you could have some kind of competition bet or rivalry between the clowns and the ballerinas within the circus. Okay, interesting, interesting. A horse riding competition with the ballerinas riding on them. Yeah, maybe it's an unusual style of competition. Practicing their dancing. Yes, the women are showing the men what that women can do what men can do. Yeah, that's a nice idea. I like that. Maybe they're trying to prove their skills. Um, good, nice. Maybe the clown is going to trip up the horses. Yeah, it could be, again, that kind of theme of sabotage there. Okay. A race that took a dark end. I think this could be a race. A ballerina falls and gets trampled. Yeah, it could be a terrible event that results from this. Maybe it was meant to be something fun and something, nice and whimsical, and it ended up being tragic. Guinness World Record. Yeah, maybe they're trying to break a record of the most ballerinas riding horses simultaneously or something like that. The clown is a girl, wanted to be a ballerina, but was rejected and then in revenge releases the horses. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yes, maybe they were desperate to be a ballerina and so beautiful and elegant and then end up as a clown. And yeah, they've had to do something like they were hoping not to have to do. Yeah, that could be a good suggestion. I like that. Okay, great. So, nice ideas, everyone. I want you to hold on to some of those ideas, okay? Because now you're going to have a little bit of time to plan out the plot for your story. So, think about the two that you were just thinking about. You had the guy with the roses, and then you had the ballerinas and the horses. I want you to see if you can structure your story into three parts. So, as you know, narrative writing is really three main elements: beginning, middle, end. And I, as I said before, kind of structure it into four sections just to develop it a bit more. Opening, setting the scene, build up, dilemma slash climax, and resolution. So you're going to have those like four sort of elements. It's like basically a story mountain, which I'm sure that you've all done previously. So I want you to return to your story idea out of a couple that you've just been practicing there, thinking about ideas, brainstorming some possible narratives, and you're going to choose the picture that you're going to create your plan for. So you're going to do number one, the opening, what happens at the start, the build up, what's going on. Paragraph two, what is the problem, the dramatic event that occurs, that could be a dilemma or a climax. And then lastly, how does it resolve? So I'm going to give everyone a little bit of time to write out this plan, and then once I see them coming through, we'll start reading some of them out to see what ideas you have come up with based on the pictures. Okay, I can see that some messages are starting to come through, but just going to give everyone a moment because we've got to write those three parts. Okay, I'm just going to start reading a few of these out because I can see some plans have emerged. Okay, so here's one. The clown is sad when she sees the ballerinas going to perform. So that's the opening. Then it's going well until the clown releases the horses. So that's, I guess, the dilemma or the main event. But the crowd likes it better. That's a great idea. Yeah, so it was kind of like revenge that went wrong. Interesting. I like that. And that's a great three-part structure. It's really clearly structured. Doesn't have too much going on that it's going to be take too long to write, but it's really effective and it has a bit of a twist. So yeah, that's great. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. So we're having a talent show, a great talent show. And the dilemma is the clown trips the horse and the person falls off. Okay, but the ballerina fights the clown and uses her horse to save her friend. Wait, the clown trips the horse, person falls off. I'm guessing that you mean the person that falls off is the person, is the friend that you're talking about, who the horse. Oh, okay. I think I get it. I think I get it. So the ballerina and the horse work together to kind of defeat the clown. I think I understand what's going on there. Yeah, interesting, interesting. So you've got an unlikely pairing of a ballerina and a horse working together to defeat a clown. I wonder if anyone else has said that sentence ever in the history of the world. Okay, great. Let's have a look at another one. Okay. Hang on, I'm just trying to find the ones that are complete in three parts. Okay, so there's a man who's trying to win a competition with roses. He thought he could keep them safe in a greenhouse. The next day he came back to see that someone had overwatered them. Oh yes, trying to sabotage him, but he cuts them back to normal. Okay, good. So you've got the main idea, we've got the build up, maybe his excitement for the competition, and then you've got the moment where he realizes that someone has sabotaged him, and then him saving them just in the nick of time, perhaps to still go on and win. That's great. Okay, here's another. People are watching an old dark play which has been guarded. Um, then the clown, who is a spectator and judge, is disappointed, and then the ballerina standing wins the horse race. But I'm not sure how. I think if you're going for the idea that like it's um and not a particularly good show at the start, and then by bringing in ballerinas on horses kind of livens up the show to make it good and to get impress the audience, that would work really well. I think that's sort of where you're going with that. Not quite sure if I've got that right, but if that's the case, that would work really nicely. Okay. All right, here's another. So you've got to build up the main horse tamer falls off his horse at a competition. They don't know what to do. They need to fill the place with someone. The ballerinas can't do dangerous stuff, so they say no, they won't do it. So they decide to cancel, but then as everyone is disappointed, the ballerinas come on stage and even and it then the show makes it even better than the normal one. Yeah, that would be good. So maybe the dancers see the disappointment of the people and they're like, no, we can try, we can do something, and that ends up paying off. Yeah, that would be great. Nice, because you've always got to have, a bit of a build up and then a problem and a realization, something that changes or something that is solved and figured out, which will make a good, satisfying twist. Okay, let me read out one or two more. There's lots of good ones here, um, but I'm just going to read as many as I can. So, okay, here's one. A man saw someone that he liked and he wanted to give them roses, so he signed up for a royal to be a royal gardener. Okay, nice. He starts to grow roses, and when he grows a lot of them, he cuts them off and gives them to that person. Which maybe that wins their heart. Yes, it means he gets paid well, can set up his gardening business, and gets married to the person that he likes. Yeah, that's lovely. That's really nice. It shows that he had a goal and he found a way to achieve that goal. Yeah, great. Okay, let me read one more. Just if I haven't read it, I do apologize. There's a lot here to read, but let's try. Okay, so ballerinas, they're preparing to perform in a circus. The clown plays a prank on the girls and they fall from grace. How could they? Or how could the clown? And the clown gets arrested. Interesting. They treat the clown really badly and the clown gets revenge on the girls. Oh, I see. Okay. So maybe you have it so that the prank is like revenge for their behavior. So basically, there's lots of mean. But yeah, that would work. That would work. It'd be quite a bitter story of revenge. Yeah, that would be good. It's like what's hiding behind, the glitter of the show and of showbiz. Okay, great. These are looking really nice, everybody. Sorry, I've just clicked through as many as I can see. There are some more, but these are all looking really good. So thank you, those of you who have sent your plans to me. And I do apologize if I didn't manage to read every single one, but thank you for all of your ideas. Okay, how am I doing? Okay, so just got a few minutes left. So just want to go through a couple of very quick things before we end for today. Just some things to remember and some things to be aware of. So we've been practicing a lot of planning today. We've planned our descriptions, we planned our stories. So that's a really important, like fundamental element of the writing task. So once you've created your plan that you're happy with, you can follow a checklist to make sure that you've got everything that you need. So you're not just writing out the story, you're not just plotting out the three parts, but you're also, that there are many things that you need to also do to make those sections really effective and really well written. So here's a bit of a suggested checklist for you to follow. I'm just going to go to this page here. So we've got 10 elements within our checklist, and I'm not saying that you need to memorize this checklist, but you'll probably find that a lot of these things you already know that you need to do, but it's good to be aware of it. Have it in the back of your mind so that when you're checking through your work, you know that you've done everything. So here are some things that you want to make sure that you do throughout your writing. Number one, make sure that your story has a clear structure. And by creating a plan, you'll already have done that. Section two, or checklist, not checklist two, element number two. Have you used a range of sentence types and sentence openers? Now make sure that your sentences are nice and varied. Some are short, some are long, some start with adverbs, some start with similes perhaps, some start with fronted adverbials, maybe some start with adjectives. So you're not just always starting with I or the. Number three, have you used a range of ambitious vocab? Particularly powerful verbs and adjectives. It's a great way to show off your vocabulary through those two particular word types. When you're checking over your work, check if you see a word that you've used, you say you've used good, that can be better. Have you used loud? That can be better. Have you used small? That could be better. If you're using basic adjectives or basic verbs, try and up level them when you're checking through. Number four, have you used a wide range of high level punctuation? We're talking not just full stops and commas, but colons, semicolons, dashes, brackets, speech marks. All those ones that are going to really show to the examiner, I don't just use punctuation, the basics. I can use it creatively and I can use the top types that are the hardest to use. Number five, have you used shifts in focus? This means you're not just focusing on one thing the whole time, you're just focusing on one character, but you're focusing on the setting, you're focusing on their events, you're focusing on other characters briefly, you're focusing on the weather, you're focusing on their feelings. You're not just sticking with one thing the whole time, you're keeping it varied. Number six, have you zoomed in on small specific details? This is going to be, of course, the main element of your third paragraph of your descriptions. But you can also do this in narratives too. For example, if you were telling the story about the gardener with the rose, maybe you have a couple of sentences describing the beauty of the rose. The scarlet petals, soft as silk, with thorns sharp enough to slice your skin, zoom in on things within your story. Even if it's not a description, you can still bring those details in. Number seven, have you used the five senses? That is essential for descriptions and stories to bring your writing to life. Number 8, have you used complex examples of figurative language, similes, personification, metaphor? You don't want to use too many of these. You want to still have some, straightforward writing so that we can follow what's going on, but enhance your writing with similes and personification and metaphor to help us imagine the things that you're describing in interesting and different ways. And then the last couple of things, 9 and 10, they are really about accuracy. Have you ensured that all words are spelled correctly? And have you checked that your grammar and your tense are accurate throughout? Choose one tense to stick with for descriptions that would usually be, well, you can really do either. Present tense or past tense can work for descriptions. Same with narratives. You can do present tense or past tense as long as you're consistent. What you choose actually doesn't matter. It's the consistency, making sure you stick with that choice throughout the whole thing, that's the most important thing. So that's the checklist. Once you've created your plan and you're writing, bear this checklist in mind, making sure that you try to cover as many of those 10 elements as possible. And I just want to make one final comment before we move on to our Q&A, because we are running out of time. Just a quick comment on time management. As I'm sure many of you will know, a lot of writing tasks for the 11+, they're about 30 minutes, maybe a bit longer. You might get 45 minutes in some, but typically 30 minutes is sort of standard, especially for a sort of stage 2 paper where you've already done your comprehension and you're doing a writing task separately. This is the general structure that I recommend that you use. And you can vary this depending on how long you get given. So if you're given 30 minutes, 5 minutes at the start, think and plan. No more than 5 minutes. You don't want to spend any longer than that because you want to get writing, but you do need to spend a good few minutes thinking about what you're going to do, creating your outline. Part 2 is going to be writing, 20 minutes of writing. Of course, if you have a 45-minute long task, you can spend longer on that. Maybe you spend 30 minutes writing, but you want to have 5 minutes to start for the planning before you do the bulk of your time on the writing. Then, because you need to give yourself another 5 minutes at the end to check, up level, and proofread. And what I mean by up level is, like I was saying before, if you notice your vocabulary is too simple at a certain point, up level it. Draw a straight line through it and write a better word on the top. Maybe you notice a place where you could change the punctuation a bit, add that in. Maybe you notice that one of your sentences starts in the same way that the one before did, change it. You need to give yourself 5 minutes because, and I'm speaking from experience here, students often don't notice a lot of mistakes or things they could change on the first write through. You need to spend 5 minutes checking that at the end to make it as good as it can be. And that's, of course, where you're going to proofread for any mistakes if you've missed words out or if you've missed up the grammar. That's the place to do that. So I think that for now is going to be the end of our masterclass for today. So thank you everyone so much for all of your contributions and all of your fantastic plans. We're going to do our parents Q&A now for the next 15 minutes. So over to you, Akanksha.
Thank you, Lewis. And thank you everyone for joining us for the masterclass. And as Lewis said, we request all of you to join us for the parents Q&A session. You can drop your doubts over in the chat and we would pick it up. And just for those of you who have attended the masterclass, we are giving you a 30% off coupon code, which is MASTER30. So it is MASTER30. You can use this coupon code in your checkout page and you would be able to avail a flat 30% off. And given that we had this masterclass on creative writing, I would suggest that you check out our English creative writings with detailed answers. So you can find it here under 11+ papers. If you navigate to 11+ creative writings, you would be able to see that we have around 20+ creative writings across the entire website, and you would be able to avail an extra 30% off on this subscription as well. So do check out our creative writings. Each of our pieces are extremely well structured. So for example, you can see we have the question. We also provide a hint that you can use in order to write your answers. We provide the plan, which includes the beginning, middle, and end that you can use to create your answer. And there's also a model answer that you can go through and you can follow. You can cross-check whether you have covered all the components that are there in the model answer. Along with this, we also have a very interesting feature called a poor response. What this basically stands for is what your answer should not look like. So while it's important for you to know what a model answer should look like, you should also understand how you're not supposed to write the answer. So we have also included poor responses for all our creative writing pieces. So you can go through that and understand whether you are repeating similar mistakes. And over here, you can see we have a tab called checklist. So each of our creative writing pieces comes with a very detailed and structured checklist. So here we help you cross-check whether you have followed the right writing plan and sequencing, whether you are following the right writing structure, sentence structure, and vocabulary, language techniques, figurative language, spelling and grammar, and more. So these checklists are available for each of the creative writing pieces, which are there on the website. And I would strongly encourage you guys to check these out. It would help you improve upon your creative writing skills. So those of you who have any questions, any doubts, and I can see a few questions about the lecture notes. So the lecture notes would be sent over to you over email. And this recording as well, the masterclass is being recorded and it is available on Pi Academy's YouTube channel. So you can head over to our YouTube. Our team would share the link to our YouTube channel on the chat soon. And you can subscribe to us. You would be able to unlock lots of previously run masterclasses and webinars as well. So do take a look at that. And as we are currently talking about creative writing, we also have a creative writing video course. So if you click on the video section on the mega menu, you would be able to see that we have a lot of video courses on the website. So we have comprehension mastery. And as you can see here, we have the creative writing mastery course. So this has around 15 video lectures. This is also backed with our effective checklists and effective writing techniques that you can use. And the way these courses are structured is that you can use it for both grammar and independent school preparation across all exam boards. So regardless of which board your target school is following, you would be able to subscribe and benefit from this course as well. So this would be of great interest to you. Here you can see the various chapters. So we are covering everything from descriptive writing, picture stimulus, balance argument, all the way till diary entry. So if you do this course properly, you can be assured that your creative writing marks would definitely come out really well. So the two resources that I spoke about were the creative writing practice papers, which you can find under 11 plus papers. And you can also find the creative writing video course on the mega menu. And along with that, we have recently launched our October half-term courses. So these courses are running during your holidays, and it would be a great time for you to check out our half-term courses. So we have courses, we have the GL half-term course, we have the Maths Complete course, comprehension half-term course, and the one that is of interest to you, which would be the creative writing half-term course. So in this course as well, we are covering all the various types of creative writings, from descriptive, persuasive, narrative, expository. So you can go through these courses. You would be able to avail lecture notes. There would be daily homeworks, and you can also get live feedback from teachers. So do check out our October half-term courses as well. It's a 5-day course coming to around 7.5 hours total, and it would help you develop your creative writing skills. So if you have any doubts, it could be in the English language or perhaps maths, verbal and non-verbal reasoning, you can ask us and we would guide you through it. And you can also comment with topics that you would like us to cover in our next masterclasses, any topics that you guys find to be too difficult and you would like to have some extra help on it. we can create our upcoming master classes accordingly. So you guys can just comment in the chat box which topics across which subjects do you find to be most difficult. So Vaishnavi has a question. Any specific courses for VR and NVR? So yes, when it comes to the October half-term courses, we definitely have our verbal and non-verbal reasoning half-term courses. You can click on the book your seat button and you would be able to see the structure of the courses. So for example, in verbal reasoning, you can see we are covering everything from VR Maths to VR English. So this includes subtopics such as word meanings, making words, codes, reading description. And at the end of the course, we also have a revision. So this is the verbal reasoning course. And as for the non-verbal reasoning course, we also have structured it across all the various subtopics. So we have codes, reflections, and rotations. We cover matrices and like figures, nets, 3D shapes, odd one outs, analogies. So with VR and NVR, you would be getting a very good practice. We also include our mock test. So basically at the end of the course, we would be giving you a mock exam, which you can attempt online. And you can see how far you've come. You can cross-check your concepts and see how much you've understood. So do check out the verbal and non-verbal reasoning courses as well. And I think Vaishnavi has a question, whether these courses are running in December. So yes, in December as well, we would be running our Christmas courses. And over there as well, you would be able to book the verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning courses. So, Louis, Celine has a question. I have an exam tomorrow, so should I write 4 paragraphs or more?
Oh, yes. Brilliant. I see the question there. I would suggest that 3 paragraphs tends to be the standard that I think I would encourage. It obviously slightly depends on what the task is. If you get a description, yes, 3 paragraphs is good. As we've been talking about today, setting the scene, zooming in, zooming in. If it's a story, similar, opening and build up can be paragraph 1, then your middle, your dilemma is paragraph 2, and then your resolution is paragraph 3. If you have something different where it's like a persuasive task, so a speech or an article, you can do it a little bit differently. You might have an intro, and then you have like a counter argument paragraph, and then you have your 3 main ideas and a conclusion. So it's going to slightly vary, but typically, and I'm imagining you're going to get a description or a narrative, 3 paragraphs is great. So I would aim for that, Celine.
And I think she has a follow-up question. Is it good to write a short paragraph, like a paragraph that is 1 line long?
Oh, yes, definitely. You can definitely do that. What I would suggest, if you're going to do that, think of it as like part of the section. So if you have a longer paragraph followed by a short one to create a dramatic effect or something, make it stand out by itself, think of it as like it's sort of still attached to the paragraph before. So it doesn't count as an extra paragraph, because it's by itself. But you can definitely do that. You can definitely be creative with your paragraphing so that you have single lines that build up tension. That's definitely a really effective way to use structure. Yeah. Definitely encourage that.
Great. And also, given that most of us are preparing, most of the schools out there, they follow the GL exam board. We have a bespoke course for the Granada Learning Board specifically. So here it's called the 11 plus exam GL half-term course. And over here, we cover all the 3 main subjects, which are maths, English, and verbal reasoning. So here you can check out the day-wise schedule of the courses. You can see all the major topics of maths, such as numbers, ratios, measurements, and all the way here, algebra and geometry, statistics are being covered. And along with that, we're also covering the verbal reasoning topics, which are number series, letters for numbers, letter series, reading description. And we also cover English. So we have information retrieval, literary devices, inference, summarizing, and so on. So for those of you who are looking for one capsule course which covers all the main subjects and really gives you a head start for the 11 plus preparation, do check out our 11 plus GL booster course. You can access it here under 11 plus courses. So when you click on 11 plus courses, you would be able to see the list of half-term courses that have been launched recently. And on the top, there is the GL half-term course. So do check it out. It's extremely comprehensive. All the 3 subjects are being covered, and it really gives you a head start for the next upcoming year. So Vaishali has a similar question. In Pi Academy, do we have one course which covers maths, English, and creative writing, unlimited marks for stage 1 and stage 2? So we do have what you're looking for. So as I said, the GL half-term course does cover maths, English, and it covers verbal reasoning as well. But if you're looking for one capsule subscription where you can unlock perhaps the entire website, I would recommend that you check out our pricing section. And over here, you would get the diamond plan and the silver plan. So with the diamond plan, you would be able to unlock all the 11 plus exam resources. So this includes all our practice papers, past papers, all the mock exams, all the board specific practice papers that we have created. So here you can see around 30,000 questions is what you would be able to unlock in one go with the diamond plan. So I would highly recommend that you check this out. It also includes the 14 mock exams. It includes the 6 video courses that I had just shown. So the diamond plan is one stop shop for the entire 11 plus subscription on our website. And with the diamond plan, you would also be able to unlock our 11 plus live weekend classes. So I would quickly show you what the weekend classes look like. So if you navigate to 11 plus courses, depending on which year you choose, for example, if you want to go for year 5, you can check out our year 5 Sunday classes, or perhaps you're in year 4 and you want to check out year 4. So for example, if you are in year 5, you would be able to unlock the weekend classes where we cover all these subjects. So you can see we cover maths and all the topics within maths. We cover English and verbal and non-verbal reasoning. And these weekend classes are held every Sunday. They are around 2.5 hours long, and all the 3 subjects, maths, English, verbal and non-verbal reasoning, these 4 are covered in these weekend classes. So those of you who are looking to have an annual subscription, you can avail the diamond plan. And those of you who are looking to have it on a monthly basis, you can check out our year 5 Sunday classes. So in both these situations, you would be getting the Sunday classes, which are around 2.5 hours of classes, along with a one-stop access to the entire Pi Academy's 11 plus exam subscriptions. So I hope, Vaishnavi, you would find that. Vaishnavi has a question. You mean with Diamond Package, weekend online classes are included without extra cost? Yes, that is correct. Great. And we would also just like to quickly show you a very interesting resource. This is called the 11 plus exam revision and practice. So we have often been asked by parents, what are the techniques that we should follow in order to make sure that our child is able to recollect the concepts taught to them, because students tend to forget what they have been taught unless they are revising frequently. So you can check out the 11 plus exam revision and practice subscription. Here you would be able to get 90 10-minute tests. So these are short tests which cover all the main subtopics. So here, for example, in 11 plus grammar, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prefixes, all of these topics are being covered. Then you can see even punctuation, spelling, they have been broken down into subtopics, and we are doing justice to every single subtopic that is covered in 11 plus exam. So these are short tests that you can give to your child. Perhaps as it just takes 10 minutes, you can have these tests every alternate day, and it would help them recall the concepts taught. It would help them revise what they're learning currently. And I would highly recommend that you check out the revision and practice test. So here you can see numbers itself, which is one major topic, is further divided into multiple subtopics. So we have place value, rounding and estimation, LCM and HCF, percentages, all of these. So similarly, we have covered algebra, ratios, proportions, measurements, geometry, and you can just see how extensive the geometry topic can get, given that it has at least like 10 plus subtopics within it. So these are short tests that you can give to your child to make sure that they are recalling and recollecting the concepts that are taught to them from time to time. Great. So Georgia has a question. Will we also have meetings on other days? So I assume you're talking about the master classes, and yes, we will be having master classes every alternate Sunday. So do keep an eye out on your inbox. We would send you an email notifying you when the next master class is live. Riansh has a question for the tests. Will the explanation be given or is it just the answers? So these are step-by-step solved questions. We don't just state the final answer. We also note down how the question has been solved. And these are handwritten questions. So you would be able to see each and every step. So yes, it's not just the final answer. Prashvita has a question. How much does it cost if we want to join the half-term creative writing course? So the half-term courses, you can check them in the 11 plus courses section. And here the creative writing is for £349, and you can use the Master 30 coupon code to avail a 30% discount on this. So with that, you would be able to access the creative writing course. All right, so looks like we are at the end of the masterclass. I would really like to thank all of you for joining us. Make sure that you use the coupon code MASTER30. It is active for only the next 24 hours. We would be taking down the coupon code after that. So do make sure that you utilize it. Check out Pi Academy's website, and all the best for 11 plus exams. And thank you, Louis, for taking the masterclass.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.